that will bring a lot of these real temperatures down to feeling like it's below zero by the weekend. We'll have all those details coming up with a complete check of your forecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Mike. And let's turn it over to Don now for a check of the commute this morning.
Thank you, Nikki. And once again, we are seeing the big delays along the Staten Island Expressway here this morning, especially going westbound, because we're right in that time frame here, a little after 9 o'clock, where that construction shutting down the HOV lane is taking place. And you can see our delays go back to just east of Toad Hill Road. As we make our way through Manor Avenue. Let's show you Manor Road, I should say, pardon me. Let's go through Manor Road this morning. Let me blow up the camera here, expand it really. You do see that the HOV lane now is shut for that bridge repair. Yesterday, we saw the eastbound side do the same thing about 9:50 or so, a little closer to 10 o'clock. That's just to kind of alleviate some of the traffic from the morning rush hour. So expect that to be closed. And this will usually wrap up around 2:30 or so. They like to get this road work out of the way before the evening rush hour starts to kick into high gear. But you can see it's a fairly heavy ride going all the way back to just about Richmond Road here this morning. So definitely give yourself a little bit of extra travel time. Eastbound side, we're still fairly heavy. That's coming through the long-term construction of Richmond Avenue for that bridge replacement, and a little bit tied up here as you head north on the West Shore Expressway. Goethals Bridge back to New Jersey. Linden Elizabeth is in fine shape. Even 440 getting across the Bayonne Bridge is pretty clear. Let's take a look at Richmond Terrace here on the North Shore since we're up here with the maps. Bay Street on over towards St. George, Richmond Terrace. That is going to be in great shape as well. We'll stay here since we're on the map of the Verrazano before we get to the South Shore, I should say. Verrazano is heavy on over towards the Belt, eastbound Belt to Bay 8th Street. That is going to be a busy ride. Inbound Gowanus, we're still all tied up straight through Industry City, all the way up into the BQE. Probably going to run you an extra 30 plus minutes or so. Let's show you the ride out to Kennedy Airport. You know, a lot of our friends in Staten Island head out to Kennedy for a flight picking up somebody. Eastbound Belt is good all the way out to Kennedy, so no issues there. Let's take a look along the South Shore here this morning, along Highland Boulevard, Richmond Road. Things are good. Arthur Kill Road, Rockland Avenue. Everything is fine here in towards the heart of the island. Not much happening on Toad Hill Road, Arthur Kill Road. Let's go to 440 of the West Shore Expressway. We're fine at Arden Avenue. That is pretty clear. So is the Korean War Veterans Parkway, and the Outer Bridge back to New Jersey is looking good as well. So really not a whole lot of issues there. Let's go to the MTA. Let's dial this in here with the Staten Island Railway. All trains from Princess Bay to Arthur Kill board at the St. George bound platform. That's today and tomorrow until about 3. So definitely keep that in mind if you're using the Staten Island Railway. And that's a look at your traffic around Staten Island.
Welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We're so glad you could join us here today.
We are indeed.
Yes, good morning. And let's get to some of the headlines. We go to Borough President Fasella and District Attorney McMahon have announced a new partnership with the NYPD to allow Staten Islanders to easily upload security footage. The partnership uses the free Neighbors by Ring app to allow residents to quickly and anonymously post suspicious activity. The goal of the partnership is to allow both authorities and neighbors to be aware of troubling activity in their neighborhood. And I think this is such a great idea. Where I grew up and where I live, we have the same type of program where you can register that Ring doorbell with local authorities if something does happen, and then they can kind of partner share with that video, which I think will hopefully help deter some of the porch pirates and things like that, stealing Amazon packages and things. Yeah,
it's happening a lot. And also, I think for the parents who work and their kids come home after school, what do they call it? The latchkey kids, right? When we were kids.
Sure.
And, they come home and there's always that guilt, right, of knowing that the kids are left alone. But I think that'll give a lot of confidence and security and stability to everybody who's in that position, having that option. So
and again, also with the rash of car thefts and things like that.
Absolutely.
These bad actors are getting really brazen. They'll go right in your driveway and steal it right from the driveway. So, we have the Ring cameras, and maybe you can get some sort of an idea of whomever it may be.
I think it's great. That's when technology works in our favor, right?
Yes.
Now, a new bill in the state assembly looks to help drivers save some money at the pump by eliminating sales and compensating use taxes on gas purchases. The bill is co-sponsored by Staten Island assemblymen, and if passed, it would also create tax exemptions for housekeeping products and ready-made foods. The bill comes as the average price of gas in New York sits at $3.53 a gallon. It went down and now it's back up again.
Now it's back up again, yeah. But I'm interested as far as the prepared foods. I mean, how do they roll that tax, and what does that got to do with gasoline? I'm not quite sure how that all kind of fit into the same thing. But again, any kind of savings you can possibly get,
we'll take it.
Especially at the pump, and with everything else going straight through the roof, certainly will help. All right, so Valentine's Day is just a couple of weeks away, and a new survey from candystore.com. Don't you love these little websites? Found the most popular candy in New York. Conversation Heart, so the top candy here in the Empire State, while the heart-shaped box of chocolates is right behind them. Third place candy, Cinnamon Bears. I don't even know what a cinnamon bear is, let alone to be number 3 on the list. What is that? I don't know. Like little gummy bears, but they're like red or something?
Are they like Red Hots, but in the shape of a bear?
That's a good question. We need to figure that out. Post it in the comments here in Facebook and YouTube, and let us know what they are, because I'm at a loss as far as what that is. I should look it up in the break.
Well, what's your favorite candy for Valentine's Day, or any time for that matter? Do you have a favorite?
M&Ms are pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a pretty solid
standard.
That's
good
just
one.
Pretty solid there. You know, maybe a very small piece of chocolate, but that's about it. I'm not really a candy person.
I'm the same way. I'm a salty, not sweet. But if I do, I like the chocolate covered cherries. I used to go into the market and take those cherries and pretend they weren't. But then the juice oozes. It's a disaster. Let's not even talk about it.
Well, I do like chocolate covered pretzels.
Oh, I love those too.
Oh, those are.
See, for two people who don't love chocolate, it's fun to talk about it, because now I'm suddenly craving that.
Exactly.
The Bobby Jones Chiari and Syringomyelia Foundation looks to raise awareness and help find a cure for those suffering from Chiari malformation, syringomyelia, and similar diseases.
Here now to tell us more is their head of research and programs, Caitlin Esposito, and their events and social media coordinator, Mary Poppy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you so much for being here. So we want to kick things off by asking you, what should people know about these disorders?
Well, so one thing to know about them is that they're considered rare, but they're actually not. It's estimated that 1 in 100 people will have a Chiari malformation on an MRI of their brain. But the problem is that the symptoms are so non-specific that they can commonly be misdiagnosed for something else like MS or some other nerve condition. And then syringomyelia is really problematic because it's when a cyst kind of forms in your spinal cord, and it can cause serious and permanent nerve damage that can be as mild as just a little bit of pain to a lot of pain to actually it can impact things like your breathing and your heart rate, all your involuntary systems, depending on where that compression is in your spinal cord. So it can be bad. So it's really important to know the signs and get checked out by a specialist.
So basically these two conditions really kind of go for like the central nervous system, essentially?
Yes. So Chiari malformation occurs when your cerebellum kind of falls down a little bit into where the opening of your spinal cord starts. And then a syrinx is a cyst that forms in the cord itself. So depending on where the Chiari is up at the back of the head, so that could be over by your brainstem, which is involved in all kinds of involuntary functions like breathing, heart rate. And then a syrinx can occur really anywhere in the spine. And if it occurs up by the top, you can have really serious problems with breathing. It can cause death in very rare cases. But if it's further down, you can have different issues like back pain, issues with walking, paralysis, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, I was unfamiliar with this until reading some of the show notes here before we got started. So I'm sure there's plenty of folks that are out there that have no idea what this is about. So how have you been able to raise that awareness for these two conditions?
Well, one thing that we do is we host awareness events, and I'll probably toss it over to Mary to talk about some of our walks and our fundraisers that we do around the country, and especially here in Staten Island too.
Sure. So we do United Night Walks all across the country. We have had ones on Staten Island. We're trying to get one started up this year, but it'll be in June. And other awareness pieces. So we have an annual casino night that we have at the Hilton Garden Inn on Staten Island. That'll be on March 4th. And a lot of the attendees are people in the tri-state, patients, families. But we do also have great support from Empire State Bank, other sponsors. Sponsorships are still open. We still have those opportunities, tickets, and we also have a journal if you'd like to put an advertisement in there. And we also do things like golf tournaments. We have the Bobby Jones Classic in Atlanta. We do galas internationally. So we just had one in Paris last year, which was very spiky, very fun. So we try to touch a lot of different areas of even the world just to get the word out and raise money and funds, awareness, research.
Yeah.
All different walks of life. Yeah.
It's great that you do that. I love seeing that you're doing these events and really helping people to understand what it's all about and how they can help to contribute to, to make it something that more people are aware of in the future and can do something about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just a question, ladies, just to get maybe a little context. How did you get involved with the organization? Was someone in your family was afflicted by one of these conditions, or?
So I actually got involved through her, so I'll just explain.
So my older brother, I have two older brothers, but the middle brother, he has syringomyelia and Chiari. He's had it ever since he was born. He was treated through surgery when he was 4 years old. He had 3 different surgeries, and he's doing very well now. He's
good.
He's 36. He's has his doctorate in physics. He's doing great. But so my mom actually started Bobby Jones Chiari and Syringomyelia Foundation because she feels like she got her miracle, and we know so many cases of people that don't. They're not as lucky too.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's so much research that goes on into many, unfortunate diseases and conditions. What types of scientific research has gone into finding a way to help patients afflicted?
Sure. So we're actually funding a huge multi-center study right now across the entire country. There's no prognostic tool to kind of go into someone's office and say, I have Chiari and syringomyelia. I don't know what to do next. But there's no tool that will tell them that surgery, which is currently the only treatment option, which is abysmal, if you ask me. There's nothing to tell those people that your child or your parent, whoever, will do better after surgery. They just don't know. So we started a multi-center study that we're really involved in helping run to kind of identify what those characteristics might be, to at least give people an idea. So if they come in with a certain set of characteristics, they can say, well, maybe you'll be 20 to 40% better after surgery. Maybe it's not worth doing. Or, you know what, I think we can safely say that 80% of your symptoms will go away. So I would recommend surgery at this time. So that's the big study that we're doing now. But we funded a lot between just small independent studies, surgical studies, stuff like that.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I feel like you've really brought something to the table that so many people need to know more about. So where can they go to find out more?
Sure. So we have a website, bobbyjonescsf.org. We're also all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Bobby Jones CSF. Or if you're interested in the golf aspect, one more website is bobbyjonesclassic.com.
Great. Well, thank you, Caitlin and Mary, for joining us.
Yes.
Hopefully this brings some new light and insight to these two conditions and get the word out and can give your organization a helping hand.
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I love that her brother's story has a good story, you know, a good ending.
Good
That's-
ending
that's
to it towards
wonderful.
it, yeah, and for her mother to go ahead and start a foundation
It's
like this, you
beautiful.
know, it's not the easiest thing
No.
to try to do and to get as many people involved as they have, and just trying to bring awareness is just fantastic.
That's wonderful.
All right, so the Travis Loop that hosts the Mid-Island Little League every year will soon be getting a makeover. The facility will begin work on a $3.5 million field renovation after the All-Star season concludes. The renovation will include new turf fields, a regulation size field, and other upgrades, which will allow more events to be hosted there. Officials say the expected work on the fields to be finished by the start of the 2024 season. So it's always good to see new Little League complexes being put in. You know, I think it's so important for, you know, the young kids.
It is. It teaches them discipline, teamwork, morale. I mean, and it keeps them active and outside and not just in front of a computer all the time.
That's the biggest thing, right? Get them off the phone or the computer and get them out and playing some baseball.
That's right. Listen, all-American sport. I love it. Now, monthly supplemental SNAP checks that have been going out since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic are ending in March. The additional money was not included in the 2023 budget. The $1.6 million New York households receiving SNAP benefits will return to their pre-COVID funds next month. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's like there's like BC, right? It's like life. It's like before COVID. It's a new BC.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's
right.
A whole different world. New York City data has shown a steep rise in autism as diagnoses have tripled from 1% to 3% since 2000. Now, researchers from Rutgers University say they may know why.
Yeah, and a new study in the journal Pediatrics suggests that many children with autism are not being identified because they don't show signs of intellectual disability. So the study says other factors such as environmental issues and the mother's age contribute to the likelihood of an autism diagnosis. So this is an interesting study. It needs to be, I think, definitely really looked into as far as really keep an eye on things with that and see where those autism rates are really going to be kind of spiking. You know, in this tri-state area, we do have fairly, unfortunately, you know, higher, I think, than some parts of the nation in autism, and they're still trying to figure out why.
Exactly. It's so much more prevalent here and also more now than ever. So interesting story to look into. New legislation introduced by Staten Island Assemblyman Michael Riley is taking on serial shoplifters. If passed, the bill would give prosecutors more power to charge people with grand larceny, where the theft must be valued at $1,000 or greater. Prosecutors would be able to add up smaller thefts of serial offenders to get to the $1,000 threshold.
Interesting.
Lots of shoplifting going on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and I think the lack of consequence has caused more people to say, what do I have to lose, right? Because a lot of people are just gaining and not losing.
Yeah. And again, there's so many people are in unfortunate times and circumstances where they think that, you need to revert to that to feed their family, to put food on the table. And it's sad that it's come to that, type of situation. So we'll see how that all kind of plays out.
I always feel really bad for the business owners. Yeah. So, hopefully we can get that handled and under control. Well, Strictly Tango New York City is hosting a tango class. Like I need to stand up my posture. Hosting a tango class this Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Faber Recreation Center.
Here now to tell us more is Strictly Tango's owner, Sergio Segura. Good morning.
Hi, Sergio.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're doing fine. Thanks for joining us.
Really want to take this class. So we want to start out by asking, what made you decide to bring the class to Staten Island?
Well, it was New York City Parks. I worked for New York City Park for about 7 years. I have been in most of the parks of New York City, Washington Square Park, West Harlem Piers, in Greenbelt. I've been everywhere in New York City and in 5 boroughs. And I love to work in New York City parks because I like to meet the people from the neighborhood and bringing something unique, like it's the experience of Argentine tango as a healing dance.
Oh my gosh, Argentine
Nice.
tango.
Yeah.
It's to me, I mean, it's one of my absolute favorite dances, and
Mhm.
it's also so complex because of the footwork. It's just, I have so much respect for everybody who can do it, and I need to learn it myself. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I'm not really a dancer, so I don't. I've seen it certainly on like Dancing with the Stars and so forth. And it looks very intricate, and I'd certainly be open to try to learn that. But with my size 13 feet, I don't know whether I'd be stepping on your feet or my feet. I'm not quite sure. But
Don't worry.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to teach both of you and see really your
Yes.
posture and your footwork and this and
she's
that.
got the posture
I'm
there.
like
She's
trying.
ready to
I'm
go.
trying.
Yeah, no, it's not a hit like this. Argentine tango is very different from American tango. American
is.
tango
The best.
is like it's coming actually from the past where there was international tango. They took Argentine tango and then domesticated to the international tango. So that was in Great Britain. Then came to United States and make it a little more open to everyone. But still, American tango is more about routines. Argentine tango is more about connection. So
Yes.
one thing I love about teaching in the park is the opposite what people think it is. Argentine tango. I teach them how to connect through simple moves, and the goal is not the footwork. The goal is how good you connect. So one of my best experience was at Chelsea Recreation Center. I did it before pre-pandemic, and I got up to 50 students, in the classes, because we were working on something which is called neurogenesis and neuroplasticity, which Argentine tango allows to reconnect the body and also create new cells in your brain and connect them. And tango is a very smooth healing dance. And New York City Park was very excited about this idea of how tango can really help you to heal, and also entertain and people have fun, get new friends, have a social life through Argentine tango. So that is basically the proposal that New York City Park has for all the parks of New York City. And this summer I will be everywhere. I will be in Carl Schur Park. I will be West Harlem Pier. I will be Elderly Center on 60 and 12. I am everywhere. You can find at the parks, also Central Park, and you will see me, trying teaching, all the attendants, some passerby, flip-flop people we have with flip-flop, any age. I mean, it's fantastic, really. I'm very honored that New York City Park picked Argentine tango, which is a rare dance to put in a recreation center, but I have been doing it for a long time. And it has a great result. And actually, Favetta Recreation Center is a beautiful space with beautiful people working there. And you should give it a try to know that center because it's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Sergio, you're just talking about the dance itself. It seems like it's a very, physical, mind and spiritual type of, experience that you're using all your senses and really, using that, using your mind in order to really get that full experience of the Argentinian tango.
And passion. And passion.
You can put passion, of course, like everything that you like, but the most important thing is really be present, right? Be present inside your body and be present in the couple. That is why Argentine tango is so special. So one thing I want to demystify is Argentine tango is difficult. It's all about footwork and rough move. No, Argentine tango is a very soft dance. It's a walking based dance. And really, I treat some cases of autism, a little bit of Alzheimer, a little bit of people that had a stroke. They come to tango to reconnect the brain through Argentine tango because it's a very smooth dance. Of course, it takes time. That kind of things take a lot of time. But at the centers, it's all about having fun, having a great time, doing silly and simple things, but very well connected with the other person.
That's great.
And Sergio, this is the third class you're holding on Staten Island, with the first two held last month. So how did those first two
go? Tomorrow, I'm not going to be there because I have to attend something very important, but it's going to be on February 9th. And also they're going to be a makeup day because tomorrow, on this Friday, I cannot be there, but they can check the page of New York City Parks and they will see when tango is happening again at the Favetta Recreation Center.
So the last two that you held, what was the response from everybody? How did they go?
They like it. Actually, we were doing, I am very spontaneous about what to work. And on the last one, there was one of the person, she's getting married. So we were working in a little routine for her wedding choreography and everyone enjoyed it. It was very, very fun.
That is nice. So what should a first-time student who's attending this know about learning how to tango? Because I'm glad you said about demystifying, because for me, when I watch Argentine tango, I'm always just completely mesmerized by watching the footwork and watching the connection. But you said it's really not to be intimidated by that footwork, right? Because I would think a lot of people would be intimidated to get started.
No, listen, Argentine tango is an urban dance. It was created by and for regular people in the neighborhood. It's like the same that salsa, mambo, or whatever other dance. The thing is like, sometimes the shows, the TV create an idea about Argentine tango, which is not correct, or other dances. As an urban dance has a very simple essence, which is connection and communication. You don't have to do fancy things. You can do beautiful things, very simple, but connected with the partner. And like, you say it's a very spiritual dance. Actually, I would say the best dance is the one you connect with yourself, with your spirit and the other person. And steps are not so important.
That's good to know. I feel better about it. Now I feel like I have no excuse.
Well, you are welcome to come to Favetta Recreation Center or my studio in Manhattan, which is in Midtown. It's on 8th Avenue and 35th Street at Pearl Studios on Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. So you are very welcome to try it.
Thank you.
So Sergio, what is really one of the main focuses that you hope that people who take the class take away from this once they finish the dancing and the instruction? What's the one thing that you would say that really is the main focus that you're looking for folks to take away from this?
What I like very much is like people come to tango and their expectations are not exactly the things I'm going to give to them. So they get very happy when they see that this tango is very possible, because they will dance what they can do with their body, right? In any kind of age, physical condition, you have to have a kind of basic physical condition so to dance Argentine tango. But Argentine tango is not difficult. So when the people see all the things they can do, they get surprised and they like it a lot. I used to be, I remember in Washington Square Park, it was before pandemic, and I used to teach 300 people in the class, and they were passers-by mostly, and everyone was getting it. In 20 minutes, they were able to get the foundation of connection through Argentine tango.
That's incredible. So they get a sense of accomplishment and they walk away with confidence and connection. And I think that's incredible. Yeah. Now, you mentioned where people can find you. Let's remind everybody how people can find out more and where they can go.
Well, they can check my website, strictlytangoNYC.com. And also they can check New York City Parks website, because I have a lot of events with New York City Parks. And our main studio is located in Midtown in 8th Avenue and 36th Street at Pearl Studios. And that is all. I recommend to the people, give it a try to Argentine tango. Favetta Recreation Center is absolutely free for everyone. And I highly recommend you to see you there February 9th. And to discover something very interesting like it's Argentine tango. Again, New York City Park is a beautiful institution that loves all the citizens. And I was really honored that they were picking me for about 8 years to teach in the parks of New York City every year. Sometimes I used to have up to 50 events in the summer in all the parts of New York City, because New York City Park thinks Argentine tango is a dance that allows to the. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sergio.
Thank you both for having me this morning. And thank you again for promoting Argentine tango.
Oh, it's our
Wonderful.
pleasure. Thank you so much. We've got to keep dancing. Listen, dance brings, obviously the physical activity and the health and all of those good things. But for the mind, body, and spirit, there's nothing like dancing.
That
It's
full
so true.
connection, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a good workout as well. Well, let's go over to meteorologist Mike Favetta in the Weather Center for a check of the weather. Good morning, Mike.
Hi,
Good
Mike.
morning to you both. Hey there. You know, we haven't really had much of a winter so far this season. Haven't had any accumulating snow. We're waiting for that here on Staten Island. Some of us are kind of thankful that it's a little bit milder than usual. But when you look at how the month of January has fared, especially in the last few weeks, how warm it's been. Yes, we've had some cold snaps, especially at the start of the month, but it's also trended very mild toward the last few weeks. And case in point, wrapping up the month of January, our average temperature was 42 degrees. Normally, we see an average temperature of 40 by the end of the month. In terms of rainfall, because it's been all liquid rain, no snow this month, the rainfall has been just slightly above average, but it's the snowfall that's kind of concerning. Typically, we see about 8.3 inches of snowfall for the month of January. We're still at a big fat zero. Haven't seen anything in terms of snowfall, considering that while we've had some very mild days during the month of January, such as back on January 4th, a 65-degree day, there was also some pretty cold weather. For instance, that 28 degrees that happened back on January 16th. Now, there is some very cold weather on the way, especially for the upcoming weekend and getting into, our real big cold snap. But this is kind of a trend of what's been happening, that there haven't been many winters where we see the big round of cold weather that typically comes in toward the end of the year. And that's kind of what to show you today, especially with this warming pattern that's been happening throughout the winter months. Typically, let's start with the middle one, how there have been earlier blooms and more pollen. We've seen the daffodils and the bulbs that we plant in the fall tend to come up during the winter months, right in the middle of January and February. While that's not uncommon certain years, it seems to be happening more and more. And there's a trend that goes along with this, because in order for the fruit-bearing trees to bear fruit, they have to go through this prolonged 3-month frozen period, and that may not happen in the near future. We know that those that enjoy the recreation upstate, especially, or out west in Pennsylvania at the ski resorts, even northern New Jersey, there's been a lot less snow for those events and been a lot less colder nights in order for them to make the artificial snow with the snow cannons. Finally, and this is something that I think we can all agree upon, is that when we get toward the spring season and we have those longer, warmer nights, it tends to bring in more mosquitoes, more of those insects that, are becoming more and more of a nuisance. And while, yes, they are a nuisance, they're also carrying and bringing some of these tropical diseases north to our latitude here in Staten Island. So it's something to keep in the back of your mind over the next few years, especially as we see this trend continue. So how has this trend gone for the last 50 years or so? Going back to the 1970s here at the bottom of the screen, this is the nights below 32 degrees. So the nights below freezing during the winter season. In the entire, 90 days that you have from January, February into the first part of March, there have been 2 entire weeks that have seen nights that were above the freezing mark. And when typically we'd have 2 more weeks that were below the freezing mark back in the 1970s. So this whole trend is showing that winters are actually warming, and we're seeing this trend of fewer nights below the freezing mark here in New York. So it's something to keep in mind, something to monitor, and it kind of goes to show that even though there's this year-to-year variability, some winters are very harsh and some winters are very warm, over the long term, which is basically what climate science is, that long-term trend of at least 30 years, we're seeing a warmer pattern shape up. So it kind of goes to show that, yes, while we are in a triple dip La Nina this year, meaning we've had 3 La Nina events for 3 winters in a row, it is unusual to have the coincidence of all of the warmth and less snow all at once, because we really haven't seen that type of snow that we're used to, especially for the end of January into early February. So fingers crossed, we will see if we have a little bit of snow for those snow lovers, because we're already well below our deficit in terms of snowfall, guys, for this time of year.
Wow,
maybe something in the future.
That was so informative. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't even think about the effects of the mosquitoes in the springtime based on what happens now. I mean, it's really interesting to me.
Yeah, and even just like viruses and whatever, I mean, the cold, we kind of normally in normal times, what do we want to call it, would kind of,
Sure.
kill off some of those common cold viruses and so
Right.
forth with the, super cold weather and stuff like that. And also, like golf courses and lawns and things like that could be a little challenging because, the nitrates and things from the snow would just lay on the grass and then kind of help feed the grass for the winter.
So interesting.
Very good, Mike. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
bet.
Mike. Well, you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
Coming up, why 4 New Yorkers are suing the mayor, what they say his administration failed to do.
Plus, what is permanent jewelry? We'll meet someone who specialized in it right here on Staten Island.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our communities safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show, everyone. Let's head back to the Weather Center for another check of the forecast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, guys. We're waiting for a little bit of accumulating snow, but even though there's a system that's sitting just offshore, can't quite make it into Staten Island this morning. But there will be some cold that comes in certainly by the weekend. I'll show you that in just a bit. This is the storm. It's kind of sitting, swirling off the coastline, and it's moving out to the north and east. So here in Staten Island, we were just kind of clipped earlier this morning with a few flurries. Maybe some of you saw that as you started your day, but now going into the afternoon, it will stay drier and then turns very cold and windy. In fact, if I go a little further out in time here, put this into, say, Friday morning time frame, look at how those winds are pulling all of that cold air down from the north and west, and it gets really windy as we head into Saturday morning. That's where we have those wind chills that will be very, very cold once we get to later on in the weekend. Specifically, more Friday, Saturday time frame is where we could see those wind chills below zero. So it does turn brighter this afternoon, and then it turns quite windy as we head into our Friday. With Friday's high happening at midnight, meaning the temperature just keeps falling all day long throughout the morning into the afternoon. It'll be down around 5 degrees by Saturday morning. When you couple the worst of the winds and the wind chill on Saturday morning, that's where we could have those wind chills down below zero for a good portion of the morning and even a good portion of our Saturday. So the next few days turning very cold. Enjoy tomorrow with Thursday's high climbing only to 39 because that's the last time we'll see the 30s, at least until Sunday. And that's when the rain moves in. I think Friday, while it's dry, it is very windy and temperatures keep sliding down to single digits. Wind chills below zero for Saturday morning, and then we rebound quickly by Saturday afternoon into the 20s. What's interesting about Sunday is that while we're above freezing, there's rain that comes in. It's wet weather that gets us started for next week. We'll let you know if that has any chance of turning into snow with your next weather update coming up with the 7-day forecast. That's in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Mike. At least we know it's only temporary. We can handle a big chill if we know it's not lasting the rest of the winter.
Well, Mike, you wonder if some of the ski areas, like in New Jersey and Hudson Valley, Catskills or whatever, maybe would fire up those cannons really quick on, Friday or whatever, and trying to maybe get a Friday night, Saturday kind of a thing going.
Yeah.
Right. But do you really think the skiers are going to want, the 25 below wind chill they're skiing on the slope? I don't know. That might be too much for them.
You're right. I would agree with you on that. certainly
wind
don't want it.
bites, right? It's the worst when it hits your face.
Ah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for that, Mike. And we'll get another look, like you said, at the forecast a little later, and we'll get some hope in the near future as well for a little warm up. In the meantime, Don has another look at the traffic.
Thank you, Nikki. Let's get you over to the West Shore Expressway now. Just a few minutes ago, as Mike was wrapping up weather there in the Weather Center, we were seeing some construction. Looked like with some pothole repairs. Looks like they have moved on here. We're just south of the Staten Island Expressway out by South Avenue, and that's southbound. That's going to be moving away. So it's slowly going to recover here in the next few minutes, but they're heading further south, so they certainly could set up shop at any time to go ahead and fix some potholes here this morning. So we are delayed here just slightly as you head south of the Staten Island Expressway. Speaking of the expressway, we had East and Richmond Avenue. We're still seeing a lot of heavy traffic there because of that long-term construction. The westbound side is starting to see those delays thinning out a little bit. Just east of Toad Hill Road, getting in towards, I'd say roughly about Manor Road, I should say. I always keep getting that wrong. I don't know why I keep calling it Manor Avenue. It's not. It's Manor Road. We will go there because this is going to be that HOV construction. It's really not on the HOV lane. It's really the bridge overpasses that the westbound side, the HOV lane is completely shut until about 2:30. Eastbound should get into the action here in about the next 10 minutes or so. With that road work, so we'll keep an eye on that for our last report before we sign off for in the morning. Let's take a look at the North Shore. Bayonne Bridge is fine. Goethals Bridge is clear. So is the ride here at Bay 8th, Bay Street, I should say, heading up into St. George. The reason why I'm talking about Bay 8th Street, because coming off the Verrazano, thinning out, but still east on the belt, is busy at Bay 8th. Here this morning, getting through Bath Beach. The ride all the way out to Kennedy Airport is good. Inbound Gowanus is still a parking lot all the way up into the Brooklyn Bridge. Let's take a look at the South Shore, and let's start it off here at the Outer Bridge Crossing. Things are fine getting out over towards Perth Amboy, Woodbridge, and Edison. The rest of the West Shore, Korean War Veterans Parkway, we are clear. So is the ride here on Amboy Road, Highland Boulevard. Again, traffic is fine. Arthur Kill Road, not a whole lot of action, just kind of normal stuff here in Central Island. Toad Hill Road, Brielle Avenue, things are in good shape. Just make a note here if you're using the Staten Island Railway from Princess Bay to Arthur Kill, they're boarding at the St. George bound platform. That is today and tomorrow until about 3 o'clock. And that's what's happening here around Staten Island. Nikki.
Thanks, Don. All right. Well, Community Board 3 will hold another hearing of the Traffic and Transportation Committee this evening at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held virtually over Zoom and does not have a set agenda of issues to discuss. Community Boards 1 and 2 do not have any set meetings this week.
All right. So Mayor Adams' administration is now facing a lawsuit as the city is accused of not processing food and cash aid benefit applications within the 30-day deadline. The suit was filed by 4 New Yorkers who did not have their applications processed. The plaintiffs are looking to make this a class action suit so everyone without sending applications can be compensated. So interesting there. We'll keep definitely tabs on that as we go forward here for the next couple of months.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this next story. Bolt 44 is a Staten Island jeweler that specializes in permanent jewelry. Now, here to talk about it is their founder, Courtney Coco. And Courtney,
Hi,
I'm so glad
guys.
you're here. Welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, jewelry is a big part of my life. I have my AGP through the GIA, and I have a major passion for jewelry, and what you do is so interesting. Can you start by sharing with us what gave you the idea to start Bolt 44?
So since I was a little girl, I always had a passion for fashion. I'm currently trying to do 30 states before I turn 30. I'm at my 21st state, and during my travels, I came across permanent jewelry. I was in Lexington, Kentucky, and in Nashville, Tennessee. And when I came across it, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. I can get jewelry that I don't ever have to take off. And then when I came back home, I wanted to get another bracelet. And I was like, there's no one here in Staten Island that does this. So I did my research to try to find a trainer where I could get certified to become a permanent jeweler. So I traveled to St. Pete's, Florida. I got certified by Flash and Fuse, and she still is my mentor. And yeah, it's been so fun doing it. I'm also a hairdresser. I own a salon here in Staten Island in Solis Salons in Tottenville. And I thought this would be a great addition to add to the salon. My good clients love having their color process, and then we put some jewelry on them. It's really fun being able to like customize unique, personable experiences for all my clients, whether I'm doing your hair or I'm creating jewelry for you.
I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So, I mean, I do not wear any jewelry at all. It's just I just have never done that. Nikki does. But so how does this work? I mean, is this like a tattoo? I mean, I've never seen it. I mean, can you show us? Do you have any examples there you could show us? Do you have any?
Yeah. So yeah, I do. So pretty much, it's so funny. Every time when I tell people about this, they instantly think it's tattooing.
Yeah.
How it works, it's collapseless jewelry. So the jewelry doesn't have a lock on it. You pick a chain from the current collection, which is made up of 14 karat gold filled and sterling silver. They are tarnish resistant, hyperallergenic. They're super dainty and elegant. Once you pick your chain out, we could add a charm onto it. And then you decide if you want a necklace, a bracelet, an anklet, a body chain, a ring. And then we find the perfect fit for you. Once we do, in a bolt of light, your jewelry piece is complete. And say if you ever did want to take it off, you just find where we weld it, which is a little circle jump ring. I'm not sure if you guys would be able to see it. And then you just cut it. You could do it with a scissor. You could do it with a wire cutter. If you're uncomfortable doing it, you could come stop by the salon and we could do it for you. But yeah, it's just so fun.
So here's what I was going to ask you, because I know with gold, you can get gold wet, obviously, if if you're wearing gold. So if you have silver, are you able to still wash your hands, bathe, work out, go in the pool, go in the water? You're okay with that, and it won't tarnish?
Nope. You could do anything that you want to do. And they're so lightweight that you don't even feel them. So in the gym, I wear a necklace every day. I don't even feel them. And everyone, that's been the feedback that I've been getting, that, a lot of people like to take their jewelry off, or, they're worried that having a bracelet on them is going to be uncomfortable. And it's so comfortable wearing it.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. So why do you think it's becoming kind of trendy now? Why is it catching on as of late?
I just think that it's just it's different. It's for those girls that like their fashion. They like their jewelry. It was a big trend on TikTok. It was a big trend in the West Coast, and it's trickling its way. It's been a trend in Manhattan, and I just thought it'd be a great way to bring it to the community. For me personally, I love being able to connect with people. And I think it's great that, a couple could come in before a date night and do it. Girls could do it for, a wine night, or, whatever you want to do. So it's definitely very interesting.
It's a new element. And I was going to say, you're connecting the jewelry, right, and keeping it there. So you keep people connected if they do it together. So you could have a little play on words there. But also, I think it's nice because I know as for me, if I leave the house and I forget my jewelry, I'm like, oh, I forgot. Shoot, I forgot to put on my earrings, or I forgot to put on my bracelet or my necklace. So I love that you do that. I think that's fantastic. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who want to know more. Can you give us some information on how they can do so?
So you can find more information on my website, which is www.bolt44.org. All of my pop-up events that I do at local businesses on Staten Island, you can come on in. You can make an appointment for, or walk-ins are always welcome. And then on my Instagram, also that information is there, which is _Bolt44. And every other Friday in my salon, which is Sheer Coco, you could come in. It's a jewelry bar. And we can make an appointment. I offer my clients a little Prosecco if they would like. And it's really just a fun way to get everyone together.
Yeah, I need to come in. I also I noticed your hair right away, and I was like, she's great with hair. I need to go in there. And then now we know why. So
you're more than welcome anytime you would like.
Thanks, Courtney. Well, Courtney, again, thanks a lot so much for joining us, and good luck.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. That's fun.
It is, yeah.
It's different. I love it.
I know nothing about jewelry as evidence of that, but you are an expert, and she's the jewelry expert. So
I try. Well, next we'll tell you about the new city program looking to help city residents with their water bill debt,
and plus how you can get free Alzheimer's screening.
And you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, Had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag. When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our communities safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
All right, Mike Favetta is back with one more look at the forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hello,
Good morning
Mike.
to you both. We've got a really cold forecast ahead, especially with the chill that returns for the upcoming weekend. When you look at these temperatures and you think, all right, the teens, well, after all, it's February this weekend. It should feel like it's in the teens. Well, see, no, that's what the thermometer says. The wind chill will make it feel like it's well below zero most of the morning from Stapleton to New Dorp, even over in Midland Beach, Tottenville, Westerly, St. George. Take your pick. It's going to feel very, very chilly on Saturday, despite all the sunshine. So that is in part due to the wind. With that very cold wind blowing around that Arctic air, it only lasts for the first half of the weekend, and you'll start to feel it later Friday night. But by Sunday, we warm quickly back into the 30s, and those 30s will even bring back some rain by the end of the weekend. So some wet weather is on tap for the second half of our weekend, with temperatures above the freezing mark. The 7-day forecast has a big swing. We go from the 30s today down to the 30s tomorrow, teens, and then single digits on Friday. Wind chills feel like it's below zero overnight into Saturday morning, and Saturday only rebounds to the 20s. But by Sunday, while we're above the freezing mark in the 30s, look how the rain returns on Sunday, clears out by Monday and Tuesday, and then first full week of February, we are back in the upper 40s. Can't seem to get the cold air to stick around here. I don't know, maybe we're too, tough for the cold air. That might be it. The cold air is just too afraid to enter Staten Island. So we will keep an eye on things, let you know if there's any changes, of course, and you can always head to the SI Morning, or rather on StatenIsland.com for the very latest there and any weather updates for you.
Thank you, Mike. I feel like Mother Nature's a little moody this week. There's a lot of chaos in her decision making. We're going up, down, and everywhere in between. But the good news is there is something to look forward to as we kick off February. Yes, we'll be a little cold, but then we'll just get back into these 40s, which I'll take any day.
Yeah, it's amazing that the temperature swing there from Saturday all the way to Wednesday. It's like
big swings. And this is typically what we'd get in March, but it's happening a little bit earlier in the season.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much, Mike, and I hope you stay warm through the cold days.
Exactly. Should be interesting to see what Groundhog Day brings.
I was just thinking that too.
See, he's going to see a shadow or not, or he's probably got a big parka on.
Yeah. Are we going to continue with this, or are we going to have a big that was fun while it lasted? Guess what? Last minute issues. I hope not.
No,
I hope that the roads are doing well today. Don has one final look at those roadways for us right now.
Thank you, Nikki. Let's go to the cameras here this morning and the eastbound side. They are right on time with that construction shutting down the HOV lane on the Staten Island Expressway. This is just east of Victory Boulevard. You can see that the road work is setting up there. It's really to facilitate the reconstruction of those bridges, the couple bridges there on between Victory Boulevard out to Toad Hill Road that they've been working on. It seems like forever. Surprised that they weren't part of that whole package when they redesigned the Staten Island Expressway, but I guess you have to take it in stages and you do one thing at a time. So now that the eastbound side has the HOV lane shut, the westbound side also has the HOV lane shut until just about 2:30. So we're in this general vicinity here, just east of Richmond Avenue and that long-term repair. But the westbound side is still pretty heavy here from Toad Hill Road on into that same location. So give yourself some additional travel time. It's really initially when they set it up, this is usually where we see the heaviest of our traffic. So probably around lunchtime or so, things will probably slowly begin to thin out. Also, southbound West Shore Expressway, some roving construction south of South Avenue here out to Victory Boulevard as well. South of the expressway, and that is because of pothole repairs, so keep that in mind. Goethals back to New Jersey is fine, so is 440, and the Bayonne Bridge is all looking good. Up here on the North Shore, everything is pretty much par for the course here. Bay Street out over to St. George. Verrazano into Brooklyn is looking good, but the eastbound belt still pretty heavy out to Bay 8th Street. Inbound Gowanus is still pretty heavy through Industry City. Straight up to the Brooklyn Bridge. Again, just normal volume there. No outlier accidents or problems to speak of. Richmond Road, Toad Hill Road here on the South Shore, Highland Boulevard, we are clear. Arthur Kill Road, that also is going to be in good shape. And as we continue down to Pleasant Plains and into Tottenville, West Shore Expressway, Korean War Veterans Parkway is good. So is the Outer Bridge Crossing. I'm back over to Perth Amboy, Woodbridge, and Edison. Just make a note if you are using Staten Island Railway today and tomorrow that all the trains from Princess Bay to Arthur Kill will board at the St. George bound platform until about 3 o'clock. And that's what's happening here around Staten Island. Nikki.
Thanks, Don.
Okay.
All right.
A new city program looks to give debt forgiveness to many New Yorkers who are behind on their water bills. Mayor Adams said that the new program will forgive some of the debt on the bills if they make an effort to start paying. The program will run until April the 30th.
Okay.
So a little help being done by the city and the mayor.
Yes, absolutely. A group of neuropsychologists in Graniteville are providing free Alzheimer's screenings for all Staten Islanders 50 and older. They're providing the screenings from 9 to 5 every day until Friday. After-hours screenings can be provided on an appointment basis. The screenings are designed to detect early symptoms of Alzheimer's that often are not noticed. Early detection allows the possibility that Alzheimer's symptoms could be managed. So important.
It is important. Unfortunately, I think we're going to see more of this as we get older into the population. You know, the population is living longer and so forth. And, you know, it's interesting that they're starting at, at 50. You know, that it's certainly possible to maybe get it earlier than that or right around 50. I'm not sure. But, you know, any of these free kind of screenings or whatever, if you think you're in that space with a family member yourself, it's certainly something to take advantage of, especially since it's a free screening.
Agreed. Especially, with genetics, take a look at that. I mean, listen, if you can do anything to help manage anything that's upcoming in your life health-wise, it's always worth it. Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for the Staten Island Morning Show today. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We'll see you back here next time.